Other interesting cultural news, you have a Houston man who was arrested for assaulting a old man with dementia, had his bond dramatically lowered, and now he just beat a woman. Which, yeah, not just in Illinois, also in shitties or, Democrat hells like Houston, which is so hot, I can't imagine living there for more than 18 seconds. I visited a couple times, and yeah, I think by the time I went from my car to the client's door, I was already sweating. It's ridiculously hot there. Now, this is brought to us thanks to End Wokeness, and he says, quote, breaking, Houston man who beat an old man with dementia was released with a bond lowered from $1 million to $20,000. He just assaulted a woman, unquote. Yeah. Who are these terrible judges? Lower the bond. Again, he beat a old man with dementia. What kind of animal is this? How morally empty are you to abuse the elderly? Someone who's near defenseless. He's got dementia. This is ridiculous behavior. Now, it's about 28 seconds long. It's a little visual warning. It's obviously not good. This is brought to us thanks to Fox 28 News.
Forget. A man beats an elderly victim to the ground for trying to get into his car in December 2023 at La Michicana food store in North Houston. That victim's family says he was simply confused because he has Alzheimer's. The man in the red here is Trayvon Lockridge. He was arrested, but his bond.
What was that place called again? And I guess it wasn't dementia. It was Alzheimer's was it an offset dementia? You lose me at the moment. I think dementia you get confused. Alzheimer's I forget, which, yeah, I do really pray that they actually cure
Victim
that.
to the ground for trying to get into his car in December 2023 at La Michicana food store in North Houston. That victim's family says he was simply confused because he has Alzheimer's. The man in the red here.
So yeah, so the old man looks like he was at the car, but the old man was looking inside the car, which again, that's suspicious, but it's not like he had a crowbar or a baseball bat trying to break into the car. You didn't really see, you don't see that. And the big guy just smashes him to the ground, and then, which again, if someone's poking in your car, that's suspicious. I understand that. But he pushed him to the ground and escalates it even more by kicking him when he's down, which, yeah, that's a piece of shit thing to do.
Or in North Houston. That victim's family says he was simply confused because he has Alzheimer's. The man in the red here is Trayvon Lockridge. He was arrested, but his bond was then lowered, and he posted it.
And of course, he gets out. And he's out, and, now he's wanted again.
Wanted for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in a shooting. Forget. A man.
Jeez. Hey. Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, you gotta watch out for your elderly family members. That's definitely not safe these days. Again, this went pretty well. Got 970,000 views and 33,000 likes. One of the first comments comes to us thanks to Gunther Eagleman, who says, quote, WTF is wrong with these judges. This dude should have been in prison with no bond, getting 5.6 thousand likes. Which, yeah. Hurting someone who has Alzheimer's, who barely knows where they are, when they were clearly not representing a threat to your life, and kicking them when he's down? Is this one of those evil leftist judges, or are they inebriated? Now you also have Cool Christian Engineer, who says, quote, Trump, law and order needs to be restored, and these criminals would face real consequences, getting 21 likes. Now, again, this is also I was about to say a state. It is a state, but it's a city thing, too. This isn't really I think we do have a problem around the U.S. in terms of, more and more violent crime. But in terms of, Trump on a federal level, I'm not sure. And let me know in the comments, what do you think Trump could do to perhaps, stop some of this? You have Barefoot Pregnant saying, quote, this is what happens when justice is replaced with woke insanity, getting 37 likes. Which, again, that's another common leftist talking point in terms of they want to talk about bail reform and how no one should ever have to post bail. I mean, there are certain instances where it makes sense, like beating up an old man. Yeah. Paul Zupa says, quote, what's with Houston going soft on thugs, getting 151 likes? Great question. Sarah Rose says, quote, nothing will change under Trump as long as progressives run cities and states. In 2,000 likes and a friendly reminder to vote often. Again, a lot of people in the United States, specifically culturally speaking, everyone talks about the election from a presidential perspective. Everyone gets riled up every 4 years, and you have a high percentage of turnout, but barely anyone shows up in the midterms, and even fewer people actually show up and vote on local levels, which in many cases, that's where you're going to have the biggest, great or bad things happen to you, in terms of politics affecting your daily life. Joseph DiParlio says, quote, unreal, why do they want criminals on the street? Getting 169 likes. Matt Van Swole says this man should have gone to prison for life. Seriously, throw away the key. He should never see the light of day again. Getting 1,000 likes. Ms. Bell says, quote, "Can we start holding these judges responsible for letting people back on the streets? If the judge didn't lower bail, another crime would not have been committed. Seems like it would make this problem less common." Getting 425 likes. Yep. Let's see here. I'm not seeing any contrarian statements thus far. You have somebody named Patriot Archie saying, quote, "Until this wave of Biden crime settles down, every woman should conceal carry handgun." I agree. And it says, facts they don't tell you about, well, I try to keep this moderately family friendly, so I'm going to change the vernacular, but you'll still get the point. And it says 550 instances of men abusing women in the worst possible way are prevented by showing a gun. 1,400 murderers are prevented every day by showing a gun. They say law-abiding citizens use guns over 2 million times per year to protect themselves. It's actually estimated between 2 million and 5 million times per year. Also, another reason not to trust the government, when Biden was in office, the CDC, which to their credit, they used to track these crime statistics, interestingly enough, they stopped that because they were showing them data. I suspect because it was showing them data that the Democrats didn't like to see. Is that God made man, but Samuel Colt made man equal, which is a saying referencing Samuel Colt, who is the successful patent holder and inventor of the first viable revolver. Prior to him, fun fact of the day, revolvers would have a lot of misfires, the timing wasn't right, but thanks to Samuel Colt, the modern revolver as we know it today was born. And it's one of those things where, again, physically speaking, women on average are going to be a lot weaker than men physically. You know what equals the playing field? Good old 9mm. Or if you feel so inclined, maybe God's caliber at 45 ACP. Now that got 90 likes, so I think should get more, 91 likes. And a little bit more ADHD. Reminds me of Ted Nugent, one of my favorite sayings of him, which again, I don't advocate violence on the YouTube, of course. He says, "I don't like repeat offenders. I like dead offenders," in reference to asking him, do you think people should carry a gun all the time? Great way to defend yourself. I would say probably the most optimal. Captive Dreamer says, quote, "Starting to think we don't actually have a quote, white supremacy at all," getting 915 likes. As a lot of these comments are starting to make it about race because the two perpetrators, well, the guy who beat the old man up, he was African American. His friend, and I don't think it's his accomplice, but his friend who was standing by, who didn't, I looked at the video, it doesn't look like he actually took partake in the altercation, or let's be honest, the abuse and, the assault. Didn't look like he actually partaked. And the gentleman who was being attacked, the elderly white guy, he was, Caucasian. The Truth Warrior says, quote, "The family should sue this idiot judge for letting the animal walk free," getting 69 likes, which, yeah, that's a good question, actually. I'm not sure legally speaking, could you do that? Florida 1 says, quote, "Houston, New York City, Chirac, Minneapolis, Denver, San Francisco, etc. How will we ever repair the judicial system?" Gave 42 likes. Vote. Many, again, not every single judge is voted upon, but many judges and sheriffs, they are. So again, you want change on a local level, get some nice Hobby Lobby, poster board, go out there and peacefully let your ideals be known, and let them know the track record of those judges. There are a lot of rhinos out there as well. Don't forget, pejoratively known as Republicans in name only. You have someone who has a picture of Abraham Lincoln and says, well, it's made up quote, says, "Stay strapped or get clapped." It also says, "Eat shit commies," getting 11 likes. It says, "Post us thanks to Salty KGB agent." He says, keep your head on a swivel." And again, it's a shame. Well, that's an old Webley revolver. Atomic Trucker says, quote, "Given that this is in Texas," and it says, "statistics show that criminals commit less crime after they've been shot," which, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what that study is noted, but I believe that study. Got 12 likes, and yeah, it is a Webley revolver, the unique one that actually, cylinder doesn't rotate out to the left or right, but it actually breaks open, like physically you pivot it, which, not to be too much of a gun nerd or aficionado, but yeah. But, I mean, let me know, do you think people ever actually vote differently or more accurately get actively involved in voting on a local level? And what would it take to get rid of these, what I think, clearly activist judges? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down in my comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone, everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.